key one. The Packers, the Bucs, both teams coming into this season with Super Bowl aspirations, but we're 5 weeks in. Only one team appears to be heading in that direction, and that would be the undefeated Packers. Green Bay offense averaging a league-best 38 points a game. The Bucs offense not averaging that. Tampa coming off a tough loss, both to the Bears and to the 4-down rule. Packers, Bucs, Rodgers, Brady. You know who knows a thing or two about the Packers? Mr. Greg Jennings. Greg joining us now. Greg, who is this game more important for, Rodgers and the Packers or Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs?
It's Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's easy. It's not even close. When you look at these two teams, defensively, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they look really good. This is why they are 3-2, to be honest. Their offense has sputtered. Their offense has been average, and Tom Brady has been average. And you look at the other team that they're facing, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Offensively, they've been lights out. He's thrown all over the field, no turnovers offensively. So they're taking full advantage of every possession that they get. And you look at this rushing game, they're averaging over 150 rushing yards on the ground, something that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very stingy about. So that's where the game will, I believe, be won defensively. I give the edge to the Green Bay Packers simply because you're dealing with a non-mobile quarterback and with a team that can apply pressure on a quarterback that has struggled when we've seen him under pressure this year.
So in other words, you know, as far as the Bucs, in Greg's opinion, the Bucs are a quarterback away from being a contender. I agree with that. I think it's a great take. I might steal that from you, Greg Jennings. No, I think it's a great take.
Greg,
now on the Packers. I think the game's actually more important for the Packers because I think the Packers are playing for something different than the Bucs are. The Bucs are playing to try to find a way into the playoffs. The Packers are playing for the Super Bowl, for the only bye that's going to be had in the NFC this year with the changed playoff rules, 7 teams, 1 bye. And as Brandon pointed out earlier and can elaborate on, they're trying to stack win after win after win, see how long they can stretch this undefeated streak to. One other point, though, for Green Bay, Brandon. Things have gone brilliantly for Green Bay this season, including one thing totally out of their control, and that is their kryptonite team last year is a mess. The Packers last season were 14-2 against the whole world except for San Francisco, and 0-2 against San Francisco. And going into this year, one of the reasons I was not picking Green Bay to make the Super Bowl is I said, well, I don't know what they changed to be able to deal with San Francisco. Well, what might have changed is they ain't going to have to deal with San Francisco because San Francisco's not going to make the playoffs. So Green Bay's handling their business. The team that whooped them twice last year is a mess. And so I think Green Bay, they could lose this game and obviously still be in good position for the playoffs. But they need to run up at least 13 wins again if they're going to get the bye. So I think it's more important for Green Bay, Brandon.
Yeah, Greg, man, I don't know. I just put myself in both locker rooms as a player. To me, it's equally important for both of them. When you look at the Green Bay Packers, they're playing for something a little bit different. They're trying to separate themselves from the entire league. You know, and you guys did this back in the day. Y'all went on runs, man. And, you know, 4-0, you know, it's great. But 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, man, that's a different type of energy. That's a different type of swagger. And then when you look at Tampa, Tampa's trying to separate themselves from their division. They have the Saints at 3-2 and the Panthers at 3-2, who I really like, and no one's really talking about this team. They can be scary. They don't even have their best player on the field right now in Christian McCaffrey. So for me, it's equally important for both of these teams to go in there and get a win. It's going to be a really good game. You have the #2 offense versus the #2 defense. And Greg, you said that you think it's going to be won in the trenches, in the run game. Well, I would say this is a Leonard Fournette game because when you look at the Green Bay Packers in their whole, it is their rush defense. They can't stop the run. So if I am Tampa, Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, I'm handing it off. Let them tote it 35 times, and you'll have a victory.
I'll address that. Well, they've been without Kenny Clark for a while. And so that's their man in the middle. That's their big run stopper. And so you get Kenny Clark back in the lineup, which they're hoping to have, and that kind of solidifies that issue. I want to jump back to Nick. Nick, you talk about the Green Bay Packers playing for something different, playing for the bye. I would say that would be important if there were fans in the stadium. There are no fans right now. So the bye, to me, is not as relevant as it would be if there were some type of advantage. Aaron Rodgers can take this cadence and his approach to the non-fans and the decibel level that we're hearing on the road anywhere and be effective.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, listen, I don't. Hold on. So
Nobody.
I agree. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Really quick, nobody wants to play in the frozen tundra. I played in Chicago. We had to see you guys twice a year. Nobody want to play in the cold.
Real quick, Nick, really quick. Let me give you a little secret because I played there too. We really didn't want to either. It was great for businesses around Green Bay, but we wanted to go somewhere warm as well. I'm just being, we won our Super Bowl on the road.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And the 15 and 1 year when Tom Coughlin's nose almost broke off his face was in the frozen tundra and they came there and beat you. I get that part of it. Wilds, the reason I'm focused on the bye is less about home field, less about crowds, and more about just skipping a playoff game. Just removing entirely the variance of one entire round of the playoffs. It's just such a massive statistical edge. Even if you're an 80% favorite, just removing that 20% chance you get bounced and removing all injury chance that week, Wilds, I just think it's a huge deal for whichever two teams get it in the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah, I buy that. Look, guys, it's been they played 37 combined seasons, Rodgers and Brady, 375 games. This is only their third matchup. We famously had a ton of Peyton versus Brady matchups, and it's always like, Brady beat Peyton. It's like, well, not really. Brady didn't play any defense. It's kind of like Patriots defense. But when you were playing, and you know you were going up against another wide receiver on the other team, were you specifically going into that game with a different mindset, like, hey, I need to do something big here because I'm playing against whoever, or was that just a media thing that's good for, like, the pregame teases?
I'll let Brandon answer that first. All right, well, I want to hear what he says.
Okay. Absolutely. Greg Jennings on the other side. We were drafted the same year, 2006. Greg Jennings going off 10 touchdowns a year. I was like, I got to keep up with Greg. Not only there, I'm looking at how much money Greg is making. Is he making, $7? I need to make $8. 100% there's games within the game.
I couldn't agree any more. That is so true. You always kept tabs on what the next guy did, especially if you were going to see him across the field against your defense, especially if you had a defense that you knew wasn't that great in passing defense. It's like, man, he's going to have a good day, so I got to have an even greater day.
Hold on, Wilds. This is 2006 to 2009 when we were competing against each other, right? Like we first got in the league. This is how in tuned I was with Greg Jennings because I'm looking at him and Aaron Rodgers. Greg, you always started the season hot. For some reason, you were takeoff, league, top 5 in everything. And then those last 5 games, I would catch you. I don't know if it was the frozen tundra. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers started throwing it to Donald Driver. But, man, I used to pay attention to you every single year.
Okay, really quick nugget. Fitzy used to say the same thing to me. Those first 5, 6, 7 games, G, you're gone. And then I get you because it's getting a little cold. The ball is getting a little hard. Yeah. That's the effect of Lambeau.
Larry Fitzgerald.
It's different.
That's great.
Well, if you guys had this sort of friendly competition, we always kept an eye out for each other, I would imagine that's amplified with a guy like Rodgers and Brady. They may toe the company line and say it's just another game and they just want a team win. But for these two who have such historic careers, Brandon, how important is it? I mean, how badly does each want to beat the other one? Talk to me from a player's perspective.
Greg, you're closer to A-Rod than I am, but like I can speak for Tom Brady because it feels like we all know who he is. He has like that LeBron James mentality where he wants to be the best in every single category. So when you look at Tom Brady, he wants to have 6 rings, 7 rings, 8 rings. He wants to be the MVP. He also wants you to know that he's better than Peyton Manning. He's better than A-Rod. So for me, it matters. I think there's games within the games. A-Rod just went on the Pat McAfee show and was like, well, I play against their defense. He's going against our defense. It doesn't matter. I think it matters. I think it matters to A-Rod, but Greg, you may know better.
It definitely matters. It matters to both of them. And if we all know who Aaron Rodgers is, it matters to him. He wants to perform well. Ultimately, where he is within his team is he wants to walk away with the win. And I think that's even more of the space that Tom Brady is in, because he knows statistically, I'm not going to be able to compete with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to be able to put up 300, 350 a game, 4+ touchdowns every game. I might hit a hot streak in one game, maybe not against this defense, but to be able to compete like that against Aaron Rodgers, that's not Brady's lane any longer. But it is Aaron Rodgers' lane. He wants to do both. I know what makes him tick, but ultimately, whoever walks away with the win is going to feel really good.
That's good stuff. All right, Brady and Rodgers facing off for the 3rd time in their storied careers. They have each won a game. We'll switch gears, talk about what's going on or what's really going on with Michael Thomas down there in New Orleans. That's next. First things first.